Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into something I think a lot of us want, getting good at English and, doing it efficiently.
Yeah, cutting through the noise.
Exactly. Our mission is to give you a clear roadmap for becoming fluent and doing it fast. It's less about just learning words and more about making English part of your actual life. And some of these strategies, well, they might seem surprisingly simple, but they can really trigger that aha moment.
That's right. We've basically distilled insights from a guide that focuses on practical, immersive ways to weave your English skills together so it feels more natural.
Less like textbook learning.
Exactly. Moving beyond that feeling of just memorizing. For anyone feeling stuck, this should offer a more intuitive path.
Okay, let's unpack that. So this idea, what if your daily life, just the stuff you do anyway, could be your best English teacher?
That's the core idea.
The source suggests starting simply, like switching your phone, your browser, your apps, setting them all to English.
Right, just change the settings.
And maybe listening to English music or podcasts, just kind of passively in the background.
Yeah, passive exposure still counts.
And then it gets more active, like writing your shopping list in English or your to-do list.
Simple things. Mundane things, even.
And even talking to yourself or just, thinking in English.
And the why behind this is, it's fascinating, really. It's about how your brain works.
Okay.
When you're constantly surrounded by English, your brain starts to process it directly. It builds new pathways.
So less translating back and forth in your head.
Exactly. It bypasses that translation step. It becomes more automatic, more integrated into how you think. It's implicit learning.
It reduces the mental effort then.
Precisely. Frees up your brain for actually understanding.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But what about that initial frustration? Your phone's suddenly in English and you don't get every word.
That's a really common point, and a fair one. The key is, don't aim for perfection. Aim for the gist. You use visual cues, context. You probably know where your settings app is anyway.
Yeah, you navigate by icons half the time.
Exactly. Your brain adapts. It learns to guess meaning, focus on what's important. Getting comfortable with not knowing everything, that's actually crucial for fluency.
Right, because real conversation isn't perfect either. Okay, so we're surrounding ourselves with English. What about actually using it, even alone?
This is where it gets really active, yeah. Purposeful speaking practice.
The guide talks about just 5 or 10 minutes a day, even talking to yourself.
Sounds simple, but it's powerful.
Like just describing what you're doing. I'm brushing my teeth now, that kind of thing.
Exactly that. Or imitation.
Yeah.
Shadowing.
Shadowing.
Yeah, you watch a short English video clip, pause it, and then just repeat the line exactly. Try to copy the, the tone, the emotion.
Okay. Mimicking.
Right, and role-playing too. Pretend you're ordering coffee, or at the airport, or in a job interview.
Okay, I can see how that helps.
Well, these things build confidence, obviously, but also muscle memory for speech. Physically saying the words.
It connects the brain and the mouth.
You got it. It engages the motor cortex, and it helps solidify grammar and vocabulary because you're actively pulling them out.
Retrieving them.
Exactly. And here's a great tip. Record yourself. Once a week, maybe.
Ooh, I don't know about that. Hearing my own voice.
Yeah, it can be weird at first. But it gives you objective feedback. You hear your progress. You notice pronunciation, things you might miss otherwise.
Okay, I see the value.
Yeah.
So all this practice, how does it help you sound more, natural?
Yeah.
Less like a textbook?
This is a crucial shift. Moving beyond single words.
You mean learning phrases?
Yes. Focus on common phrases, chunks of language, instead of just the word thanks.
Learn thanks a lot, or I appreciate it.
Precisely. Or instead of just go, you learn I need to go now. Or good becomes that's a good idea.
Right. Complete thoughts.
And this is a game changer. Phrases are easier for your brain to grab and use because they're stored like single items. It's called chunking.
Like how kids learn, maybe.
Very much so. They pick up whole chunks of meaning, not grammar rules first. It makes your speech more fluid, more automatic, because you're not building sentences word by word.
You just sound more natural because you're using these ready-made bits.
Exactly. That's how native speakers talk.
Okay, that's a really powerful shortcut. Now, what about using entertainment, like watching TV? Can that actually be serious study?
Absolutely, if you do it strategically. The source talks about the TV show strategy.
Right. Pick one show, something with easier English, like Friends.
Friends, yeah, or Extra English, Modern Family, shows where the dialogue isn't too complex or fast.
And the method is?
Yeah,
Watch it multiple times.
Yeah, the multi-pass technique. First time, maybe subtitles in your own language just to get the story.
Okay.
Second time, English subtitles. Really connect the sound to the words. Third time, no subtitles.
Ooh, okay.
It is. But the key is active engagement. Don't just sit there. Repeat some key lines out loud. Notice common expressions they use.
So you're not just passively watching.
Exactly. That active part is crucial. It leverages pattern recognition in your brain. You see the same phrases in context again and again.
And it starts to sink in intuitively.
Right. You internalize the patterns without consciously studying grammar rules. It builds that feel for the language. But yeah, people often skip the active repeating part, and that's where they miss out a bit.
Okay, good tip. Now, switching to reading. The advice here is a bit different, isn't it? Reading for the message, not every single word.
Yes, exactly. Fluency over perfection, especially at first. Don't get bogged down stopping to look up every unknown word.
So pick something at your level. Short stories, maybe, to graded readers.
Perfect. Or news written in simple English. Focus on understanding the overall story, the main points.
And if you see a word you don't know,
underline it, maybe, but keep reading. Look it up after you finish the section or chapter.
resist the urge to stop.
Right, because that trains your brain to guess meaning from context. That's a vital skill.
And it makes reading faster, less painful.
Definitely. Reduces the cognitive load. You build speed and comprehension together. Places like newsandlevels.com, ESL Fast, or apps like Bilingual app are great for this.
Good resources.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've immersed, spoken, watched, read. What about writing?
Daily writing. Another practical application. It really ties things together.
The suggestion is super simple. Just keep a daily journal, 5 sentences maybe.
Yep. Today I woke up late. I drank tea. It was raining. Simple observations about your day.
Doesn't have to be profound.
Not at all. Or you could write captions for photos you take in English. Or comment on YouTube or social media.
Using beginner writing prompts maybe?
Also good. The point is, writing reinforces grammar and vocabulary because you have to retrieve it and use it correctly. It makes it stick.
In a way that's meaningful to you.
Exactly. Low pressure, but very effective for consolidating learning.
Now, something that holds people back. Mistakes. We hate making them.
Oh, absolutely. But the source material really pushes back on that fear.
Says we should embrace them. Like, they're learning opportunities. Beta points.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Treat them systematically. When you make a mistake, write it down. Understand the correct way.
Okay.
Then, and this is key, create new sentences using the correction. So if you said, he go to school.
You corrected to he goes to school.
Right. And then you practice, she goes to the market. My brother goes to the gym. You actively use the correct form.
That makes sense. You're reinforcing the right pattern.
And psychologically, it's huge. It builds resilience. You're not just avoiding errors, you're learning from them. It turns frustration into feedback.
What's fascinating here is it sounds like progress could really speed up that way.
It absolutely can. Analyzing mistakes systematically makes you a much more active learner. It enhances neuroplasticity. Errors become stepping stones.
Okay, I'm sold on mistakes. Now, structured listening, there's a specific method mentioned too, right? With short clips.
Yeah, the 1-minute clip method, it's quite layered. You take a short video or podcast clip.
Like from BBC Learning English or those other channels?
Exactly. Channels like that are perfect. So, first, listen once, no subtitles. Just get the feel.
Okay.
Then listen again with subtitles to check your understanding. Make sure you know what's being said.
Right.
Then repeat some sentences out loud. Mimic the speaker.
And get the mouth involved again.
Yes. And finally, try to retell what you heard in your own words. Just summarize it briefly.
Retelling. That sounds challenging but useful.
It really is. It consolidates everything. You're not just understanding passively, you're processing it and then producing language yourself. It bridges that gap between listening and speaking.
Okay. Now, the final habit. The one described as maybe the most powerful.
Yes. Thinking in English.
This is the big one, isn't it? Moving beyond translation entirely.
It really is the goal.
Yeah.
And you can practice it. Ask yourself questions in your head. In English, what am I doing now? What should I make for dinner?
Narrate your own life internally.
Kind of, yeah. Or imagine conversations. If I meet my friend later, I'll ask. Just run through it in English in your head.
Why is this so impactful?
Because it trains your brain to stop relying on your native language as a crutch. Thoughts form directly in English.
Which leads to faster speech, more natural.
Much faster, much more natural, much less effort. It builds direct connections between concepts and English words. It's profound cognitive integration.
This raises a question then. Just how much faster could you get fluent if you really made thinking in English a daily thing?
It's hard to quantify, but significantly faster.
Yeah.
And it feels less like studying and more like just operating in English.
That's a goal worth aiming for. Okay, so we have all these amazing strategies. How do we pull them together? Avoid getting overwhelmed.
Structure, a weekly plan.
Right, the source provides a sample plan, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Fixing things up each day.
Exactly. Like Monday, maybe a YouTube video, some mirror talk practice, read an easy story, write your journal entry.
In Tuesday, could be different. A podcast, maybe shadowing practice, read a comic, comment on social media.
Precisely. The mix is important. It hits different skills, uses different parts of your brain, keeps it fresh.
Prevents burnout.
Absolutely. Consistency is key, but variety makes consistency sustainable. It ensures you're developing all areas, listening, speaking, reading, writing.
Makes sense. And there were some bonus resources mentioned too, apps and websites.
Yeah, quick list, Duolingo for basics, HelloTalk to find language partners.
Anki for flashcards?
Spaced repetition, right?
Yes. And websites like Youglish, great for hearing words in context from YouTube, lyrics training for learning with songs, ESL Lab for listening quizzes, lots of tools out there.
Good stuff. But the final tip, this felt really important. Integrating English with your hobbies.
Yes. This is perhaps the ultimate key to making it stick and making it fun.
So if you love football,
follow the news, read match reports, watch interviews. All in English.
If you like cooking,
watch English cooking channels on YouTube, read recipes in English.
If you like reading stories, read short fiction, graded readers, whatever interests you in English.
Why does this work so well?
Because it connects learning to your intrinsic motivation. It stops feeling like a chore, like study time.
It just becomes part of enjoying your interests.
Exactly. And when you're genuinely interested, you learn faster, you remember more, it goes deeper, it makes the language relevant to your world.
So, wrapping up, it seems mastering English isn't about finding one magic bullet. It's about building this immersive system in your everyday life.
It really is, using how your brain naturally learns.
And hopefully, everyone listening now feels like they have a clearer roadmap to do just that.
Yeah, a practical plan. But maybe a final thought to consider, if we zoom out a bit.
Okay.
How might embracing these kinds of techniques, immersion, integration, learning from mistakes, not just change your English, but maybe change how you approach learning anything new in the future?
Tapping into motivation using context. Yeah, that's a really interesting thought to take away.
Something to ponder.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully this deep dive was really valuable for you all. The best thing to do now is just start, pick one thing, and try it today. Thanks so much for tuning in.